And what is up, guys? Technical Stinkers here, checking in on our little 3D print operation for today. I'm a business owner, been doing it over 10 years. I've got about 50 employees, but I'm not all that active in my company. I have good people that run it, and so I'm left to do and explore other ideas, and 3D printing is currently one of them. I like the idea of machines making money, so I'm learning about 3D printers, testing it out here at home. So just join along in this process. It's not instructional, just exhibition. A lot of people that are in a similar boat can extract something from this and see what I'm doing wrong and don't do that kind of thing. Currently doing a giveaway, link in the description below, giving away some filament for hitting 2,000 subscribers. Plan to do that every 1,000 or so, unless I get like a million at once, then I probably won't do that. So what am I working on today? Well, I already pulled everything off the plates, so we're gonna have to go in the office and see what I printed. Some new stuff, some different stuff. No issues to report. GIGA is currently printing, and that's what everyone's really been interested in lately. So let's check it out and see what's going on with that. So as you can see, I do have the big, chunky, 5 kilogram spool here from Elegoo. Big $65 spool of filament up here on feeding it. I did a filament swap out when I woke up earlier today, and it's still going now. If you remember the previous videos, my concern was once the small spool ran out, if it would flip the empty cardboard spool and land down in here. And wouldn't you know it, that is exactly what happened. When I came in, it was out, and this thing was laying inside of here. Now there doesn't appear to be any damage, but someone had some good ideas about attaching like a tow line to it, or maybe some other things to keep that from happening. Now when that spool runs out, it's pretty heavy. I'm not sure that that will really happen with this one, but overall it's something that we need to look out for in the future. Now as far as the print itself goes, it's looking pretty good. When it started the walls, I came in to check for layer adhesion, and we are adhered. My only area of slight concern is this like this little ridge here. This is not where, well, maybe it was. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the filament change occurred, but it was kind of a little ridgy down here, but you know, pulling and just, it's adhered. It's a solid mass of plastic, don't worry. My only real bug is that how damn slow this thing goes, because I'm running the 1mm nozzle. My volumetric flow is capped at 30. And so I put the speed, I forget what I put the speed at. We can look at the settings, but overall it's about the same speed as I was running the T-Rex skull. And the T-Rex was at a 0.48. This is at a 0.5. So it's roughly the same output, but that bigger nozzle size is giving me supreme layer adhesion, a little more peace of mind, and it's set up for more of the long term. I'm not running the layer height like at the maximum that the nozzle is able to do. I'm running it at about half. So there's a lot to be said for that. Again, I appreciate all the comments and suggestions that people have been giving me on how to prime and tune this thing to get it set up for the long term. We got our character models off the P1P. We're gonna pop the supports off of those. We got some more wings off the A1. We're gonna look at those. We got a new concept off the Soval. Gonna look at that. And our coat hooks off the Cobra 4. We're gonna look at that as well. I was gonna ask, does anyone else save their prime towers? I've been saving all mine because I feel like I could make a pretty cool art thing out of those. All right, Stinker Squad, let's see what we got. You know, it's funny, stinkers, people have made fun of that because, you know, technicals, tinkers, stinkers, that's why I say stinkers. My wife was saying I should have a like a mascot or something like that, and I said, well, how about a skunk, because, you know, stinkers. But then I thought, you know, it's either gotta be a skunk or a hungry sea creature, because we throw all our plastic in the ocean, all our defects and supports, we just throw it straight in the ocean. So vote now on your phones in the comments below. Hungry sea creature or skunk, what do you think? All right, so we got our pack. Let's get the, let's dispense with the boring, quote unquote, boring stuff. Got our coat, or towel hooks here rather, off the Cobra. Quality leaves a lot to, you know, I'm gonna get better quality off the bamboo, but these did pretty good on the Cobra. You know, the surface finish is all right. Someone very astutely saying like you should print these flat laterally because the layer lines would go horizontal, and because the stress point on this is going to be like this, and the layer lines are running this direction. You don't want that. You want them running sort of perpendicular to where the stress will be. And I'm like, damn, that's brilliant. This is why you make a YouTube channel. If you're doing anything, just make a YouTube channel and people will tell you what you're doing wrong. You don't have to figure it out for yourself because you're a big dodo. You don't have to worry about it. So we'll probably revise that. Could very easily just print it like this. I think the circles on the inside shouldn't have any issue printing their circles. So probably do that in the future, but these are good for pictures and whatnot. So gonna put those up on the Etsy and just kind of see what happens. And kind of speaks to another point. I was watching this girl's video, small channel, video's getting a lot of views, talking about like the problems with Etsy, and it's something I've been hearing about. Now I've not been on Etsy for a long time. I've certainly shopped on Etsy, over the years. But talking about how Etsy is no longer like the handmade sort of company it once was, because they went public and now they're after profits, and then the fees went up, and now drop shippers are in there and AI people are in there, and it's just flooded and they can't really police it. It's just too much, too fast, and if they do that, it's going to hurt their bottom line because they're a public company. If they're not raking all the fees from the drop shippers and the AI people and the copycats and whatnot, they're cutting their own throat if they make a change. And so she's kind of lamenting and, it's not how it used to be. But, that's kind of a fist shaker opinion. And if you've been around a while, you know that I don't really care for fist shakers. And what I mean by fist shakers are people that just like to, it shouldn't be this way, just shake their fist. Like me, I try to, at least I try, to be a little more realistic, a little more pragmatic in these types of things. Like, okay, Etsy's cooked. So what do you do now? Do you shake your fist, or do you just find somewhere else to go? And that kind of ties in with a comment from my favorite commenter. I forget his name. He's my favorite commenter. I don't even remember his name. DK Goodrich, you're my favorite commenter because you seem like a bro. He was talking about how my only sales channel is Etsy. Now I've had on my list since like the beginning to do Amazon Handmade, TikTok Shop, Shopify, like my own site, eBay, just having all these sales channels ready. So I'm thinking I've been really thinking about that a lot lately. What's the next channel? Because I've already got an Amazon associate account, but I really think there's a lot more potential in TikTok Shop because it's just so many people there now. You're competing against dropshipper, all those bad people, all those bad hombres that are on Etsy, times a billion on TikTok. But it's just that much more traffic. And so if I could take some of these models and then maybe start pushing them through a TikTok shop, I think there's some potential there. One of my pauses is, and as ridiculous as this sounds, one of my big concerns is a product that does well. So if I put this on TikTok shop, like, hey, here's my towel hook, look, Kobe, and then people just think that's great because I'm pretty and they want to buy it from me, and I sell 1 million of these, I'm not really tuned up to sell 1 million of these. Or if a character model, my thinking was it's probably a character model, one that's doesn't have nudity but is still kind of cute and sexy or whatever, that might do well on TikTok. But what if I put it on there and get an order for 10? It's going to take me a week to do that at a minimum. And then people are going to get mad. And I've heard notoriously that TikTok, if you don't ship like immediately, then they're gonna come knocking and potentially cut your account off. So I think the opportunities there at TikTok the most. eBay, Amazon Handmade, not so sure. Obviously selling on your own website is ideal, but then you have to really drive the traffic there, and that's hard. There are not enough I could drive it via YouTube channels, but you guys are 3D printers. You're not customers. You're not buying 3D printed products. You're printing them yourself. So I can't really market what I'm making to you guys. I can certainly market you filament and affiliate links and things like that because, yes, you guys are a pool from which I extract profit from, of course. Have you not realized that yet? But those different channels all have unique strengths and weaknesses. And so I think probably moving forward, well, Etsy's probably the best bet currently because it's already set up and operating and it's tuned for that kind of thing. But I think probably in the future, in the short term, probably go into TikTok Shop and just try to identify some products that I can move through. I'm not sure if big guns or things like that will really work, but maybe there are some relevant products, and I'm not talking about slinky dragons or fidgets or things like that because that is just hella saturated, and who the hell is buying that? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. What else did I print? So, angel wings, again, another set of angel wings came out. Crispy clean, a little demarcation on the color where I did a filament switch from that mystery filament to the Elegoo Rapid PLA Plus, but can't really notice it, so that looks good. Our angel model, let's see, what can I show? Everything except her front part. quality came out pretty good. Now, I am a little concerned with the hair. Now, I think this is just characteristic of white and flushing volumes. Now, I turned the flushing volumes up until there are no red numbers, but still kind of a little bit in her hair here. And so that's a little disappointing, especially here. That's probably the worst because, let's see, that's where her eyes are, like the black in her eye, or actually the collar around her neck. There's a lot of black there. So the flushing volumes, and you'd have to really kind of look at it to get that. And again, is the person buying this model, you know, if they're a 3D print person, they're looking at it like, oh my God, your settings are wrong. But if it's just a person, a sexy model enjoyer, you know, maybe not so much. And we'll take that into consideration when we do the pricing. I've not clipped any of the supports off these yet. You know, so let's take a look here. This is probably the area where I think it was kind of the worst. These overhangs here, this is probably due to a high layer height. Will it focus? Focus! Stop looking at my face. All right, so over here on the bottom, obviously that's like a very steep overhang on her leg there. And with the high layer height, you know, it just kind of comes with the territory. I think hit that with the torch, should be okay. Supports are popping off crispy clean. 0.2 layer height, 0.22 top Z distance. Seems to really win thus far, at least with this matte PLA. Yeah, support's coming off crispy clean. Let's just see this through, pop them all off, and then I'll fast forward it in editing and put some royalty-free lo-fi hip-hop to it. So here she is, got all the supports off, popped off, super crispy clean. Again, it's a 0.2 layer height, so we're not expecting like a super fine resin level layer of detail here, but overall, not bad. I mean, you know, like the robes and everything, now it's a pretty simple model to paint. It's beige, black, white, and she's got some brown in her eyes. The brown like barely showed up on the one eye, but that's just as a result of painting. But overall, other than that, like, you know, kind of slight discoloration in the hair, I think it's pretty good. So again, wings, probably ship her like with wings on. The wings just fit here into the back, and she's got this like, you know, I'm hiding, I'm shy sort of thing. So that's a win. Gonna pop the rest off of those and hopefully get that listed on the Etsy today. And so what next? I know, are we going full degen mode here? I don't know. So the character models get a lot of traffic on the Etsy anyway, a lot of views. And so one of the criticisms I think is that they're maybe a little too provocative, a little too like, because these Karinka models, they are, you know, they're a bit heavy, I would say, maybe for the general populace. So I found another character model designer that models things that are, you know, kind of sexy, but they're not like full on, yeah, they're not full on, you know, I just scored an 8-ball in Vegas and it's time to go full degen type of thing. But they are sexy models. So this one, it's Dark Digital Pinups, if you want to check them out on Cults. I did just a solid color model. Now this one is called like their Gamer Girl or something like that. And I did this just to see how the things fit together. I did it on the Soball. There's no nudity or anything in here. Print came out okay, a little stringy. I think it maybe is running it a little bit hot. You can probably kind of make it out. It's, you know, it's not super fine detail. It looks a lot better when it's colorized. But it's a girl with like the cat ear headset on, and she's got a posterior here, and it fits in, and she's playing a video game, and she's leaning over this teddy bear thing. It like fits, she's like leaning over the teddy bear playing. I'll put a picture of it right here. So anyway, I was gonna try that out because their model is kind of like a Thangs sort of subscription, like you sub to their Patreon and then you get rights to print all the models that they have. And so I'm like, that's not too bad, give it a shot, see how it works out. Seeing if maybe I can generate more actual sales on those versus these Karinka models, because these Karinka models they're not really tuned, they're not optimized for FDM, they're optimized for resin, if optimized at all. These seem a little more professional, a little more packaged, ready to go. So I think, you know, with coloring them and spitting them out, if I can get like 4 per plate, then I can offer them at maybe like, I don't know, $50 or something like that. And then maybe I can generate some more sales. So that's currently going on as well. Some other ideas too that I wanted to explore is I kind of wanted to revisit that, if you remember, you've been a fan of the channel for a while, I was considering doing just like placards for popular bands. I was trying a Blackpink placard, but I did buy in some just keychain mounts. I know, I really don't want to get into printing these small things, but I am interested in seeing what has volume. So I was thinking of doing just printed script, you know, take an SVG, extrude it up, print it in like multicolor layers, use some nice silk filaments, and then make it into a keychain and see if that works. Because again, I've been watching more of these other 3D print creators, and they're making this really, really simple stuff, and they're selling it. And while I have a lot of pause where I'm like, you know, I don't really want to play around, and I don't want to pack up 10 orders to make $20 in profit. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And that's not me being like pretentious or anything, or you know, like I don't wake up for less than 10 grand. But I kind of don't. And I don't think you should either, because you're kind of selling yourself short and you're not valuing your time correctly. And a lot of people jump in to, you know, highlight my hypocrisy and my how I contradict myself constantly with doing things like this. But again, it's a learning experience, kind of going through the process, and that's at least the way I'm going to justify it. So considering doing that again, you know, maybe I can just make a better mousetrap or just price it through the roof. Maybe someone will buy it because they like that it's in gold or copper or something like that. So I wanted to try that out too. Additionally, some other things like just following trends, like for instance, Stanley Cups, you know, they were really, really popular there for a hot minute. And I saw someone was like printing miniature versions of those as like a keychain or something like that. And I'm like, you know, that's a great idea. I don't know how I'm gonna print Stanley Cups, but it's just a matter of thinking like, okay, what's popular in current moment? And then you print that, you stamp it out, and maybe you could sell a few hundred of them. And because they're popular, people pay the premium. Like a Stanley Cup keychain is an ideal TikTok shop sort of thing, because that's where normies go, normal, just everyday Joes, or everyday Janes rather, because it's, you know, guys don't buy Stanley Cups. Mine's DeWalt. But you know, that's an ideal product for that kind of thing, kind of mated together well. So gonna be looking at those different avenues. Again, I appreciate all the comments coming in, kind of steering me and helping me along the way, especially with the GIGA. So name of the game today, monitor the GIGA constantly, maybe get some print started on some of those other things. Karinka actually did put out, I'm staring at it right now, Karinka, the girl that does these character models. Great, go follow her Patreon, pay for her Patreon if you're interested in her models. But she did put out a holiday themed model. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to print it in time to actually make any sales, because I feel like people are buying Christmassy stuff right now, and I'm not sure, like, you know, if I'm able to spit this thing out in a week, if it's gonna make sense. Maybe I'll just print one as an example to put on my Christmas tree, but it is a cool model nonetheless. Let me show you. How freaking boomer is this? I'm pointing a camera at a computer screen instead of just putting it in there. Anyway, this is like her Christmas model. It's like a girl, there's like more to it. It's a big candy cane. I don't know if it's a Christmas tree topper or something like that. But she's just kind of resting on this candy cane. She's been mentioning in her Discord she wants to do more work that is not as racy, and I am very much so in support of that, because that's kind of the chief criticism. But cool model, just kind of threw a very quick paint on it just to kind of see what might come out. But overall, it could be a pretty simple model. I'm not sure how I would lay this though. That would be a challenge. There's no real good flat face to put this on, and like I was saying, she doesn't really opt. The printing itself is not something she's really thinking about. She's more so thinking about the art, which an artist should. But yeah, probably go ahead and paint this up and maybe just print an example. You know, maybe like I did with the Android model or the first Feet Girl in a Box. I just printed a very large example just to kind of do it. And you know, those are the ones that get the traffic. The Feet Girl in a Box is the one that's sold for, you know, like $150 something. So maybe that's an option as well. Gonna be working on that today too. Once again, don't forget, giveaway going on. Hit the link in the description below over to Gleam so you can enter there. Just a few very easy hoops to jump through. Be sure to like the video because it's the nice thing to do, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm The Technicals. See you next time.